Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on the Family Manager inside the Powerpack for Revit. Okay, a little introduction for those of you that have not attended one of my webinars before. My name is Simon Dickinson. I'm the BIM Technical Manager for Gretek here in the UK. I've been with Gretek for about just short of 19 years now. And I've been an advocate of BIM now for a good 18 years, if not longer, with the BIM workflows. I'm an Autodesk certified professional, and I'm also an Autodesk certified instructor. My email's there if you want to drop me an email on anything relating to the Powerpack, and you can join me on LinkedIn as well at sdickinson1. And for those of you that are not fully aware of who Gretek are, we're 30 plus years old. We were started in Paris, and it's still where our head office is today. We operate in 11 countries worldwide and currently have 48 offices. We are a very healthy company. We are expanding all the time and basically acquiring other companies and expanding our business. We've currently got over 550 staff, of which 100 of them are actually based in our Romania office, which is where our R&D facility is, where we actually write our internal products, such as the Powerpacks, the Advanced Design, Advanced Workshop, and also various other tools that we've been developing as well. We're very customer centric. You know, at the end of the day, our customers are the most important thing to us. You are what make us. And, you know, we've taken part in millions of projects over the past 30 years. And we specialize in the consultancy side of the training, helping you guys to benefit and reap the rewards of the investment that you make, both in the Autodesk software and also in our software as well. We have 4 pillars to our business. We have the create pillars, which is obviously bolstered by the Autodesk products, in particular today with Revit, but then we enhance the use of them products with our Powerpacks, and that's one of the Powerpacks, the Revit Powerpack, that we'll be looking at today. We have simulation products such as Advanced Design, which is our structural analysis tool, which can actually then link back to Revit. So from the structural analysis side, we can link that back in and use them results inside of Revit in one of our other Powerpacks, the Concrete Powerpack. We have fabrication tools as well. I've got a product called Advanced Workshop, which allows us to help with the prefabrication side of things. So if you're working on prefabrication or doing prefabbed buildings, this is the shop floor software which helps us to get our designs to manufacturing. And we also have our own manage product. So when we talk about manage, how do you manage all the data that we're creating? How do we communicate that data? And so we have our own product in there, one that you've probably heard of, the main one, which is OpenTree. So let's have a look at the Family Manager. Okay, within our Powerpack, there's 70 plus tools, which is increasing on every release. We're constantly adding new features and functionality into here. If anyone has any suggestions of things that Revit could do better, that you're interested in, drop us an email and we can put that forward to the development team. At the end of the day, we want to develop tools in the Powerpack that you guys want, you know, and so we're always looking for ideas from our customers as to how we can improve the Powerpack and how we can add more tools and bring these other tools to market. So let's have a look specifically in this webinar at our Family Manager. Okay, so the Family Manager is made up of more than one tool. We have the Family Manager itself, and this will allow us to load families into our project. But one of the cool features there is it will allow us to load families in from different categories at the same time. And we can add folders into here, and we can customize this, as you'll see shortly, from various different locations. We've got an upgrade tool, the file update. This will allow us to upgrade families from a previous version. And it's not just the families, this is also your template files and also your project files as well. we've got a tool to extract all the families that are used into a project into a folder. So if you're one of these people that are working on a project, you're getting families sent to you, you're downloading families, you're using them families inside of your project, we've got a tool then to take them out and put them into our own libraries, which of course can be then linked back to the family manager. And we've got another little tool in there now, which is to remove backup files. So as we all know, Revit, every time you hit save, will save a backup. You can change that value, defaults 3, minimum's 1, but there's always a backup in there. That can be a particular problem, you know, if you're working on very large projects and every time you hit save, you've got 3 backups in there. Also with families, you might make a change to a family. You don't really need that backup file in there to go back to. You know, it's not going to be developing that quickly, but we've got a tool that tidies up and helps you save that space. So here's the actual family manager, the main family manager, and this is where we can manage all the families from different locations. It could be that the families that you're looking at in here are the families that come with Revit from the standard libraries, the metric, the imperial, or the country customized ones. It could be that we have a server location where everyone that uses Revit is accessing the same libraries. We can link any file or any folder, no matter where that is. If you were even using something like SharePoint and you had the desktop connector installed, or even BIM 360 with the desktop connector installed and your families are stored in the cloud, we can still link them in as well. So it's a very, very powerful tool. And as I say, we can click on the plus button and we can then start to add them families. When you add the families, it actually goes through, and as you'll see when I show you this in a bit, it will actually generate thumbnails as well. And it's very clever because even if there's subfolders, depending on where you are within the view, it will show you everything, including the subfolders. As you go through the subfolders, it starts to then rationalize what you're seeing and filter out the information we don't want. We've also got search engines in there as well, and the ability to filter the data. Here's the file updater. So the file updater will update, not as I mentioned before, not only our Revit families that we've got, but our Revit projects. So it's very useful if for some reason you might be using working in say Revit 2019 and you want to go to Revit 20 or 21. As long as you've got the version of Revit open that you want to upgrade to, this will automatically do that. There was a way of doing it historically. There was always a little file updater that was included in the Revit installation. It was a command line based one that used a batch file. It was a bit awkward to use. Some of the settings weren't quite obvious. This just gives us a nice front end and gives us the ability to then upgrade them. We can create a copy of the files as well, so if you want to keep the old versions as well, or we can override them. Okay. The exporter, again, this is something that you can do already to a certain degree in Revit, but you have to export everything or one at a time. What this will allow us to do is it will allow us to set a location for where we want to export our files. It will allow us to choose the individual families that we want. By default, the top level is by category, so we can basically decide which categories of items we want to export from a particular project. And we can also get to create subfolders within the location that we're exporting to, which is very useful because we can then create the folders based on the categories. So you'll have a doors, a windows, a door tags, detailed items, etc. folder. And it means that then if you did the same procedure again, when you want to export families from maybe a future project, we can make sure that they're going into the correct category folders within your custom library, which again, we're going to be able to link back into the family manager as well. We then have this tool for removing the backup files. And this is clever as well, because when we do this, we can point it at a top level folder. Maybe it's our company projects folder, and maybe we want it to just go through the whole of that folder structure. We've got that nice little tick box there that says remove backup files from subfolders too. So it's not just looking at a top level folder, we can get it to go down the other levels as well. Okay, so let's nip over into Revit and have a look at how these tools work. So here we are in Revit. Here's our Powerpack tools. Yeah, so as I say, there's 70 plus tools in here. Depending on your screen resolution, will depend on how many you actually get onto one screen. The Family Manager section is over here under our files. Okay, so all of the Family Manager tools are on this drop down. And the nice thing as well is if I choose one of the other tools, okay, so like this update, if I just come out of the update, the file updater is now the main tool. So it actually reorders the icons that are in here as well, which I think is quite a nice feature if you want to go back into there. So let's start off at the top. Here's the Family Manager. Now, every time you open the Family Manager, you'll see the blue screen that's coming up. And what it's doing is it's rechecking the index file to make sure it matches. So imagine that somebody else has updated the families, or they've copied some new families into your libraries. Then it's checking to make sure it doesn't need to update. So it will update, so it's quite a nice easy tool. You don't have to start doing a refresh. We can force a refresh, yeah, if we want for the entire database, but as I say, it does check anyway. Okay, so what we've now got in here is, if I come down here, what we have is we've got some sample libraries. So these sample libraries are ones that automatically ship. If you don't want these, so if I didn't want the Italian ones in there, I can right click and I can delete that folder. So that's not a problem. We can start to delete some of these items in there. Anyone that's got a little person next to me, these are the ones that I've added. So these are the custom folders that I've actually created. So one of the ones that I have done, and I've done this prior to this webinar because it's imported 3,442 items in here. That's quite a lot of items. And if I just click on the drop down in here, you'll notice that this is the metric library that comes with Revit. Okay, and we've got all of them in there. So I could go to the furniture. Here's all the thumbnails. Look, and it even tells you in here how many different types of that family there actually are as well. And we can come down. I could expand that look. So at the moment, you notice it's showing beds and everything. If I just came then down to storage, it will then just show me the storage. So it's reading and showing me all of the elements that are in here. Now, it might be that I want to start loading some of these elements actually into my project. So I can come into here. I can select this chair maybe. I won't do that because I think that was actually already in my project. Let's do this wooden chair. So obviously this is furniture. It's a furniture category. If I was going to load this in normally in Revit, I would go to my insert and basically click on my family to load the family in, and then I could come in. Now, obviously, if I go to the component tool, there's certain elements that the component tool won't let you load. For instance, you cannot load a door or a window from a component tool. If you want to load a door or window, you have to use the door or the window tool. However, I might want to come down and let's go up here, sorry, to my doors. And what I want to do is I want to load, say, let's find a door that's not in use in this project. So let's go to internal doors, just to filter the list a little bit. So here's my internal doors, and I might want to load this one. It's got two tabs. Okay. I might want to load some windows in. So I can actually come down and I can actually find in here my windows. Here's all the windows, look. And I might decide that I want this particular window here, this 6 types, look. As I'm doing this, it's showing me here on my little forklift truck, look, how many families I've actually got picked. And I can actually click on there and it will show me the catalogue. It's like my shopping basket, isn't it, of all the items I've got in here. Once I'm happy that I've got the families that I need, I can click next. And this is where it gets quite clever. It will now show me the number of different types there are of that family. Okay. And I can then start to choose which ones I want to load and which ones I don't. Now, for those of you that are experienced Revit users, you'll know that The only way you can do this in Revit is if there is a type catalog associated to that element. In this case, we don't need a type catalog. This is actually reading the family, and I can tell it straight away which ones I don't want to load in. So you can, it can be quite bad if you've got a window in this case that's got what have we got? The 6 different sizes. That is going to create 6 different families in Revit, which takes up 6 times the amount of space that one family does. So this is why sometimes we need to remember to purge our project. But I can limit that. So I can say, well, I don't want that one. And as for that door, I'm only wanting the 910. Click OK. And it will now load them families in. Okay. So it doesn't matter what my categories are, and I can load them in. And it's really clever. So now if I just go into my Windows and I drop this down, look, here is the other casement windows that I've got in, that I loaded in. If I then go back to my component in here, yeah, there is the chair that I loaded in. Okay, so let's just go back into the Family Manager. And what I can do is I can come into here, and as I say, I can delete them, but what we can do is we can add. So I'm just going to add a subfolder in here. So let me just go to my C drive. And in here I've got a Powerpack. And in here I've got one called Supermarket Units. Okay, so I can add that in. It also has the ability, it will invoke the, do I want to remove any backup files that are in that folder as well? So I'll just say yes. Okay, so if there's any backup files in there, it will do that. This has just got 4 elements in, and there you go. These are the 4 families that are actually loaded in there. You see it's got 2 types, and it's generated the thumbnails as well for us as well, which is quite nice. So that's basically how we can add our own folders in there as well. So I'll just go cancel because I don't want to load any in, but it will have kept that information that I've added that new folder into there. The next one we've got is the file updater. Yeah. So this is where, if we've got a folder that's got some, say, could have some 2019 ones in. So what I can do is, let me just have a look. I believe if I go to my Powerpack, let's have a look at export in here. So I've got some windows in here. Okay, what I can do is I can create copies of all the families in here as well. I can overwrite them. If I do a copy, yeah, you've got a destination folder. Okay, so my destination folder is the one I've added as doors. What I can need to do is I need to add files. It does actually help if I click on the add files one first. So let's just go to here and Powerpack export doors. Yeah, so we can open them. Okay, so that's the files, or I could add folders. It gives me one of both. I'll create copies because I'm putting them in the same place. They are all Revit families, so I can just click families and ignore viewers. But there could be a combination of files in there as well. I'm going to tell it to ignore the warnings, and I do not want it to create backups. I click OK, and that will then run an upgrade process in each file. I'm not going to hit that because if I do, basically it's opening and saving in the background each file. So the more files you add, the slower it becomes. Okay, let's cancel out that one. So there's our file updater. Then we have the family exporter. Okay, so in here we have a destination folder. So let's just set that. So in here under my PC, C, and my Powerpack folder, and then I have a one called, where is it? I created one, custom families or custom library. Let's do the custom library folder. Okay, So here is my own library. I want to create subfolders. I'm just going to deselect all. I won't export all of them. But in this case, I might want the furniture. And as I say, we can even come in and be very, rather than exporting all the furniture, maybe I just want to export these desks. I've got a couple, one called Family 3 and Family 6, where obviously I've not given it a name, which is really bad. And we could have the 2 different rackings as well. Okay. And there we go. Once I've chosen which ones I want, I can click OK. And this will now save out them 6 families. As I say, these could be custom ones that we've downloaded for this particular project, but we want to be able to use them later on. It could be manufacturers' products that we've been getting in a project. So we can start to save them out. And here we go, nearly there. All done successfully. And of course now I could go back to my family manager, and I could even now add that new folder, which was my custom library folder, into here. Okay, there shouldn't be any backups because they're fresh copies. And here we now go. Here's my custom library. And there's my furniture. But of course now, because I've now got this custom library, I can keep adding to that. I could keep exporting different projects out there, creating the different folders in there, but I've then got a custom library. And of course, yes, I've got this local to my machine, but that could quite happily be, as I say, a server location. So if I wanted to add a folder, so we've got all the folders on here, look. As you can see, I've got access to my OneDrive. If I go to this PC, I've also got access to my BIM 360. So I can even come into here, and if, as I say, I was storing my projects, my files in a particular project in the cloud, then I can also link that as well. Okay, as long as you've got the desktop connector enabled. The final tool that we have in this list is this little tool here, which says remove backup files. And literally all we do here is we basically point it to a folder where we want to check. So that could be my documents. Just leave it in there. I don't want to check subfolders. Click OK, and it will go through and then delete anything with a 0001, 0002, etc. extension on it. So it's a good way of doing that. I'm not going to do that because I don't actually want to delete my backups at this moment in time. But again, if you're wanting to tidy particularly at the end of a project, when that project's getting archived, you can point it to the project folder and get it to remove that extra data, which can be taking up, a lot of space. If you're working on large Revit files, 200-300 meg files, every backup's taking up quite a bit of space. You might find that one project is taking up 3 gigabytes of space, when in reality it's not taking anywhere. It shouldn't be taking anywhere near that size. Okay. So they are the main tools within our family manager tools. There's one, as I said, we've got 70 plus tools in here. Another tool which sort of links to families as well, and it's very useful if you're creating your own content, is this Watermark Manager. So what the Watermark Manager allows us to do is, let me just add some chosen files in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to that custom library, into furniture, and I'm actually going to add these elements in here. So one of the things that you're probably very much aware of is it's very hard to protect Revit families. And if you're a manufacturer and you're creating all your own content, this is very awkward, because the information that you're producing, someone can actually rename and make it their own. And it's very hard to stop that happening. Now, what I can do here is, I need to see if these have already got a watermark on. So I'm just going to verify. Okay. And what this is going to do is going to go down and it's going to check to see what each of these families are. In fact, what I'll do is when it's done this, I'm actually just going to clear the list and just put one of the families in, just to speed up. Yeah, so what it's doing is it's opening each family in the background, and it's checking to see if it's got one of our watermarks in. So let me just go back into add, and let's just add this one. Okay, so I can verify all, or I can verify them individually. Okay, and as we know, this 1200 desk is going to come back saying no watermark. So I can go into configuration, and in here I can put the information that I want to embed into that family. So I'll go OK, and I'll add a watermark. Password protect it. Okay, and that will now add a watermark to that family. And it's highlighted in blue at the moment, so it'll be a bit hard to see there, but it'll show me in a second that it's got the URL. So it's highlighted blue because it's selected, but I've got the URL in there as well. I'm just going to come out of there, and I'm just going to go File, and I'm going to open up that family so we can have a look and see what has actually happened. So let's go on to C, Powerpack, Custom Library, Furniture, and you can see it's actually created a backup when it's actually made the change. So this is where the backup tool comes in, because it's basically created an edited family. So if I come into this family, if we just go to the properties, yeah, and I just put his identity data down, you'll notice it's added in some manufacturing information and URL. Okay, now, yeah, that's fine. That's a good way of, this is a real good way of stopping people messing with that in the project without coming into here. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to change this. Okay, so the URL, let's change it to google.co.uk, and the manufacturer is someone. Okay, click OK. So I've technically just deleted all that information out of that family. I could rename it, yeah. So let's do a save as. So I'm going to save it as a family. I'm going to call it Fake Desk. Hit save. Okay, I'm now going to go back into my Powerpack. I'm just going to go to the Watermark Manager again. And let's add this fake desk, because I've got a suspicion that that desk was my desk. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add fake desk, even though I have renamed it, I've deleted the information that was in there. But if I verify this, the author was me, the company's Gretek, and the URL is still Gretek. What it's doing is it's actually embedding that data into the code of the family, and it is impossible to remove that watermark. So it's failed, yeah, because it knows that this information has been changed. Okay, I can at any point remove it as well by putting in the password, and we can remove that watermark information. But it will come back and it will tell me, even though someone's completely edited that family, if you suspect that that was your IP in the first place, then we can come back in and we can change that. It's a really, really nice little tool that we have here as well. Okay, I obviously put the wrong password in. It helps if you can either type, yeah. So it's failed because I obviously mistyped the password. As I say, it can be removed as well later on. Okay, so there are the nice family manager and family tools that you have inside the Powerpack. I hope that's been really useful. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat window at the bottom, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of them. If you haven't got any questions, or you just want to ask one offline, feel free to drop me an email at simon.dickinson@gretek.com. And again, thank you ever so much for watching. Do follow us on social media. We're on most of the social media channels, and we have our YouTube channel where a lot of our content and videos goes up. So thanks ever so much again for joining us, and until the next time, stay safe.
Gretek.